Like where? It's already going live.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll fix it.
Here. Just go ahead and... Go ahead. All right. Hey everybody, my organization, Strong Towns Las Vegas, is having a live event. We're going to be doing a kind of a lecture and preview of what's going on. So we're just waiting for a couple of guests. Okay. You want to bring it closer to the...
I can zoom in if we need to. Bring closer what?
the television, when most of the television you see.
Okay.
Just bring it closer.
No, I...
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Hey, what's going on? Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Good to see you. Thanks so much. Let's just continue. Welcome everybody to our May 2025 Strong Towns event. We have some refreshments and food on the table and right over there. If you like, we'll be having a grill after that. So today's main topic is the Nevada legislature. As you know, many bills are being heard. And as a result of that is that we're seeing that there's a lot of important pieces related to planning, okay, which means that there's a lot of good bills out there, there's a lot of ugly bills, but we have to make sure that we get the ones that obviously are going to help our cause, okay? So the first thing that we did is we had certified mail. And this is to show people that we exist. Now, the one who suggested that was Mike. You suggested that we have certified mail and we figure out exactly what our points are, what our stances are, who we are, and we actually did show some image. So we basically showed us who we are, we talk about the problems, not to mention the solution, and in addition below, we talk about the bills about what to do, okay? And we gave 63 certified mail handouts to all 63 legislatures, okay? Because we all know there's 63 of them. Everybody needs to know it's an important issue affecting every single district out there. Now, unfortunately, all 63 of them likely received it, but only one got it. And it was this woman right here, Erica Mosca. She is a Democrat. Her district is on the east side, as you know. And one of the things is that her district, she's a young woman. She responded to our legislature. One of the things you'll start to notice is that she is probably somebody who has been heavily involved with planning. Give me about 15 seconds to wrap it up. Thank you guys for coming. Again. Okay, so we send certified mail to all 63 state legislatures. Remember, this topic of this meeting is about the state, because in terms of the legislature, what's going on in Carson City, because they're putting a lot of bills that's related to planning. So we showed them the problems, solutions, or stances on the bills. She was the only one that responded. Her district is on the east side. Her district has a lot of potential for infill development. And I'm sure she's aware that you can do some changes to housing, land use, as well as transportation. You know, the thing is that when we are wondering why people are having problems with elections, why certain candidates are not winning, I can tell you one thing for sure, is that because a lot of them are not addressing the issues. We'll get to that later. Before we continue, I'm going to do a Carson City trip on May 9th to the 16th. If any of you guys want to go, you can come. I can give you transportation. My car holds up to 4 people. I did get an Airbnb. Airbnb is going to be from Saturday night to Friday night. As you can see, we're going to be going there. This is the state capitol building. This is the Nevada legislature. As you know, they did a remodel to the legislature. It looks a lot nicer. The other one looked pretty plastic, if you ask me. But we're going to be going there, seeing what's going on, get an idea of our, elected officials, see what they do. I would recommend, if you see an elected official, just say hello to them. If they respond, good. If they don't, then that pretty much we can see who their true colors are. Okay? Because I believe all of them know who I am, as well as our organization. Okay? I think we talked about this in the last meeting, that the federal land expansion is coming true. I met this woman from the Southern Nevada Home Builders Association. I got her business card. This darker skinned woman right here, the second one. And then this one is Susie Lee. This one is Catherine Cortez Masto. So we did talk about in the last meeting about how we want to, or they, want to expand more federal lands for more development. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but in Las Vegas, it's a situation where it's pretty much built. All these homes are close together, and then once you leave the area, it becomes empty desert. It's because there's federal lands policy, and they have a situation where there's a line that says where you can easily acquire land and where it's too difficult. So now we have also, and remember this is a nonpartisan effort, bipartisan, where we have the new Interior Secretary talk. Now what has the Nevada legislature has been doing? Well, we can see here, Hardy introduced a resolution, not a bill, to allow more federal land. So they want to address Congress to allow this to happen. She's a Democrat. Okay? And we had all Republicans in the legislature and most Democrats voting yes. You can see down here, 85% is federally owned land. Releasing more land will allow more development, more opportunity to build housing. Now remember, there's still a lot of federal lands that's empty that can be built and hasn't been built. So it's hard to say if it's going to reduce housing costs. However, we have to really decide. Now what we can agree is that if we expand outward, do we believe that it has to be built and planned more responsibly and differently? Yes or no? Yes. Exactly. That's one thing we can agree with. And that's what I brought in my testimony. I can show you the videos later on. And actually there were many organizations, environmental organizations, Plan, Progressive Leadership Alliance of Nevada. They opposed this, but I showed them what we were doing, and one of the people who testified is now following our Instagram page. So again, just because we're maybe have a different side of the story does not mean that we cannot work together. Okay? AB 396 and 131 is legalizing ADUs. Okay? So what that means is it makes it easier. You can see here in 131 it says allowing counties that have 100,000 or more, this one at Washoe County, to allow more ADUs in their backyards. And this one does the same as well. The common interest communities. This was from Bacchus, and the other one was Jackson. And I did speak to Jackson on the phone, ironically. And when I spoke to him on the phone, I was actually in Dina, California. Oh man, it was so heartbreaking what I saw. AB 241, another bill which I can't say it's really all that good. It got some interesting opposition because many argue it hurts local control, but it allows more mixed use. So if there's commercial property, we're going to make it easier to build housing in other forms. So everybody knows that dreaded property on Spring Mountain and Rainbow, they used to be the Kmart, the Payless, and now there's only one Burger King. They want to make it easier for developers to acquire that to put residential units there. Okay? AB 256, this is a pro-transit bill. It will not issue or mandate or instruct for mass transit, they will commit a study. So what they're trying to do is they want to make Charleston Boulevard, Eastern Avenue, MLK Boulevard, wherever. They want to study these areas and make room for bus rapid transit, light rail, kind of like what's happening in Maryland Parkway with bus rapid transit and Boulder Highway. Okay? And we will support this bill. Of course, the question is what kind of transit it's going to be. We don't know. Urban heat island effect. So what this does, now this got 13 assembly members voting no. Okay? However, this bill says that on a master plan that you will have to show how we're going to mitigate the heat island effect. Anybody knows what's the heat island effect? Anybody? Okay. You guys know when you're in the inner parts of Las Vegas, it's 5-10 degrees warmer at night. When you go 30, 40 miles away, that's urban heat island effect. So you have to show on your general plan, Clark County, Las Vegas, Northtown, Henderson, all of them, how are you going to mitigate the heat island effect? Okay. So, and again, why do I bring this bill up? Because it is the best excuse against parking requirements and strokes. The two top issues that are very, very important when it comes to our urban planning situation. Streets that we can't cross and parking requirements. Because all the sun absorbs in this asphalt and it makes it harder for us to cool down. And this is why our heat waves are such a problem. So that's the best excuse you can use. UHI. Gas tax, though, that's not really a planning issue. We did speak to union members who were supporting of this. Yes, we want our roads to be funded, but the legitimate concern that we have is that it's, remember, we are paying for the system. It's going to fund more money for strokes, more money of the same kind of planning. So we have to make sure that this does not feed the beast. Okay? That's what I spoke in testimony.
What does that one do, though?
It institutes the gas, or it extends the gas tax?
It extends the current gas tax. It does not increase it, but many argue it takes the voting power away from the people because we voted in 2016, and it's going to give it to the county commissioners for another 10 years. Okay?
That they could set the tax rate on gas?
Yeah. So in Clark County, we pay 25 cents additional in gas taxes, which is more than Pahrump. So Pahrump, if you go buy gas, it's about 25 cents cheaper.
Oh.
Even in the Indian reservations, when you go out to Mwapa Indian Reservation, the Chevron is about 60 cents cheaper because we have the state and county taxes. Okay? But again, many argue how you're going to fund the roads. Okay? We argue is this should not be drug money or addiction money or whatever you want to call it to pump the current planning system. We don't want that to happen. The question is on whether our roads are funded is where is it going to go to? Because as you can see here, these are all strokes. These are all the Easterns, the Blue Diamonds, the Rainbows, all that. So the thing is, if we keep funding these taxes, are we going to see more of the same son of the gun, which is what we want to do. So we have to come up with a compromise. Okay? Now here are some of the bills. I think they died. Red light cameras, there's 2 of them. One of the things is that the red light cameras show that number one, traffic lights have its issues, but it shows that our planning system doesn't work. Because when we build these arterials that are 45 miles an hour, and people speed on them 60 miles an hour, the design of the road is largely responsible. It's not just the bad driver or just the traffic light. So this is why we oppose, because it doesn't solve the problem. This is a construction bill that deregulates, so staircase requirements, a lot of different factors, codes that really help our cause. I think this bill died, to be honest with you. And 443, this one loosens land use regulations. Or no, 505 is relating construction defects or something like that. 443 is loosening land use regulations, so you can see here allows multifamily housing, parking requirements, staircase requirements. I think this bill died from Assemblymember DeLonge. And then this one is not really related because this talks about film tax credits. Because again, we need tax money to keep our system going, but if we're going to bring movie studios, the problem is that they're not going to pay taxes for the infrastructure that we need when it comes to transit, car infrastructure, public spaces.
They're giving them so much tax, so many tax breaks.
Right.
That's what's going on.
Right. And remember, this has a lot of bipartisan, nonpartisan opposition. Okay? Now, before we go into our main topic, does anybody have any questions? I was going to say, I got to show you guys how you give opposition when the bill comes through. Anybody has any questions? Anybody has any questions about?
I mean, I want to discuss some of your legislation, but it's not time for this right now, so.
Okay. Now, I want to get to my slide earlier about our trip to Carson City because they do have public comment periods. And what that means is you've got to talk about bills that wasn't introduced, that were introduced in other states, how we can bring that here in Nevada. In Washington, they introduced a bill that would remove driver's license requirements for employment. So let's say if you don't want to drive or you can't drive, and you get a job at the local Del Taco, just a few steps away, or Walgreens, and they say you have to have a valid driver's license to get a job. That bill will say, you know what? You cannot push somebody around, deny employment because of that. So that absolutely makes sense. So that would forbid them to do that. Another bill in Washington removes parking mandates. So that means that now this apartment building right here has 6-7 levels of parking because of parking requirements. So that would essentially get rid of it, and now we would probably only have 3 or 4 levels. So it's very, very simple. Because again, and going back to the other bill, why do you need a driver's license for a job that doesn't require driving? You're not delivering anything. You're not moving people around. It absolutely doesn't make any sense.
Is it just a driver's license or is it an ID as well?
No, many jobs where the job does not require driving because they think if you have a valid driver's license, you're more likely to show up on time. You're more likely to be somebody who comes in more effective.
That's discrimination.
Yeah.
And you can argue that. In fact,
That's racist. I'm just kidding.
you know, the truth is that some races are less likely to own cars. That's true. And that's why some racial justice advocates, they like our movement. Because they know that it is some races that are likely to use transit, are more likely to get hit by pedestrians, struggle with housing affordability, and so forth. So that's another thing. And if you look at Texas, so the first two are from Washington. Texas, a much different state. They legalized starter homes in all across the state. And I can show you the bill. They allowed starter homes to get built because some cities make it harder to build, like homes that are 500 square foot, 1,000 square foot, and so forth. In Illinois, they introduced a bill to allow missing middle homes. So in some neighborhoods, it will just be 2-story homes with good-sized yards, and then it will just be luxury high-rises. And we know it can't just be that. Okay, you're going to need 3-story apartment buildings, like 6-plexes, 4-plexes, row houses, backyard cottages, cottage courts, and so forth. Everybody knows what's the missing middle house. You know, because it's like in some neighborhoods, it's like 2-story homes, and then next to it, there's a 20-story high-rise. Okay? Maybe they're just trying to favor the rich. We don't know. But other than that, we're going to go to Carson City. If anybody wants to come, so that way we can obviously bring these ideas going forward for 2027. 2027. They meet every 2 years. Okay? And maybe that's a good thing because we want to see how the law takes effect, what happens, and then we can see whether they can go on any further. So
We don't have any draft legislation that we're proposing here.
no, we can use the legislation from Washington State or Texas and bring that literally to the state legislature and they can see what they can do. Okay? But yeah, other than that, any questions, any comments? Would you like me to show you how we can submit an opinion? Has anybody has done anything about that?
That sounds like a good, yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, any questions so far?
Yeah, can you go more into the bills a little bit? Can we look over the bills a little bit more?
Which one do you want to look at?
All of them, just kind of like briefly go. That was the first one. And,
I'm going to read it to you. The state of Nevada is facing a significant housing crisis characterized by shortage of affordable housing and insufficient amount of land for residential development. 85% of the land is owned and managed by the federal government. Limited availability of developed land is a key feature for affordable housing in Nevada, whereas the state of Nevada has a history of bipartisan efforts to make certain lands affordable for housing while protecting other lands for future generations. Whereas releasing federal land to state and local governments allow flexible and targeted approach to addressing state housing needs, economic development, and community planning initiatives. The state is committed to managing land in a responsible, sustainable manner, balancing economic development and environmental stewardship. So there's going to be more conservation lands, is what we're really starting to talk about. Okay? That's pretty much what we want to do. There's going to be more conservation lands, but there's obviously, so actually let me show you how you guys can go. If you want, I can send you the links. So we're going to go to, okay, Las Vegas home prices are starting to come down. Wow. Matt, welcome to this. All right. We're going to go to Nellis. And actually, here's one of the bills we wanted to talk about, AB 256.
I'm sorry, what's the URL?
Huh?
What's the URL?
If you want, I can send it to you. You want me to do that?
Is it on ICBS or?
It's on Nellis. So here's what I can do. Alex, you could do this. I can send you this link, okay? And then you can forward it to our group chat. Can you do that?
Group chat on.
So from Strong Towns, Las Vegas, I'm going to send you this link right here. You're going to open it and you're going to send it to the group text. Okay? It's a lot faster than email. Can you go on your phone, please? Okay.
Can I submit it first?
Yeah, search it out. That's all. It's the home side of the legislature.
Okay, so here's AB 256. And then it says directs the legislative commission. Let me zoom in a little bit further. Directs the legislative commission to appoint a rail transit advisory group to conduct interim study to relating rail transit. Okay? So you can see the bill. It got 42 support, 0 opposition. So you want me to do AB 256, or which one do you want me to do? Any bill, right?
Well, that bill's fine.
Okay. So we can go to opinions.
Just as an example.
So you can see here, the way it works is, they have a hearing. They had a hearing on March 4th. They're likely to have another hearing later this month, probably when I'll be there. And then what you do is, when the meeting is on, I can let you know when the meeting is going, and then you can call into the legislative testimony. Okay? You can also go in person. They have not only they're in Carson City, but they're also in a building on Amigo Street, right by the airport. Okay? Let me show you how it works. So this is the agenda we saw on March 4th. You can see here that this is how you can attend and participate. So they'll tell you which room it is in Carson City. And then you can also go to room 3 in this place right here in Las Vegas. Now, if you don't want to make it, you can also call. And this is a relatively new feature. They didn't have this in 2019 because that was pre-COVID. And then when you call, you can give your code right here, and then they'll tell you when you can call and participate, okay?
They love Cyrus, so he calls it.
They love it.
No, I call like state reps.
I think I'm probably the one who calls in the most of any other person in the state.
CyrusHojjaty.
Right. But again, it's because you gotta participate, you gotta know what's going on.
Right.
But the thing is though, 80–90% of the time that when I call in, I keep my testimonies less than 20 seconds. All I just say is I oppose the bill, thank you so much, ditto, and move on.
Yeah.
Because what you want to do, because remember, a lot of times they don't give you a lot of time for everybody to speak. They
Right.
say, we're going to give you 20 minutes for opposition, so you let everybody speak. So I can yammer for 2–3 minutes, or all of you can call in and say, we support, we oppose. So the more the merrier, okay? Now, how do you give your opposition in testimony? We can go here in opinions, and we can see what this bill is, see if this thing loads. And it has 87 support, and this is 10% in opposition. Now let's read some of the comments. Wow, it has about 77 comments, 8 pages. Let's read some of the... Reno has the worst air pollution in the country, so we're going to go see how Reno is going to work. Climate change is caused by man-made emissions, so it looks like people are very concerned about climate change out there. Threats are national security. Electric vehicles are clearly not going to make more trivial contribution to the causes. We need better mass transit. We need commuter trails, metro rail system, or light rail. And of course, the problem is that Reno is not that large, if you guys don't know. They can support light rail, and Las Vegas can support metro rail, and all of that stuff. And then let's take a look at the against. Somebody said, is this part of your 15-minute cityage? I mean, we get that a lot. I even get that on the group text, so it's...
I said that's how we should make a comparison, because people do get that a lot.
I mean, we had a lot of mass transit 100, 150 years ago, and
And in other countries.
we were relatively a free society back then. So we can see who supported it. You had 5 primary sponsors, 10 co-sponsors. All of them are, well, actually, almost all of them are Democrat. There's 1 Republican here, so like I said. But the reason why, again, you have very few Republicans is because Republicans tend to live in very sparsely populated areas. Everybody knows that, okay? If you look at an electoral map, all the rural counties usually are red. All the blue counties are typically in the inner urban areas, okay? So that's one of the things. Actually, yeah. Anyway, does anybody know how the process works? Does anybody want to submit an opinion right now, or
Sure,
you want to do that?
let's go through the process of submitting an opinion right now.
Okay, which one do you want to do?
Hang on, let me check the list. Okay.
Can we do it on your computer too?
How pro-transit is 1856?
Yeah.
That's a very good question.
Better, like,
It's not really pro-transit. It's just conducting internal study relating rail transit.
Okay.
So that's exactly
I
what's
guess
going on.
that's prerequisite to do anything.
Yeah.
So maybe we say we're in favor of promoting transit, but we would like to. We think it's important to keep the process for evaluating feasibility to a reasonable length so that it actually can happen. I don't know.
Well,
I forgot to put a bill on this slide, unfortunately. There's actually many bills that I forgot to put a slide.
My problem is that every time it seems like the bill says proposal for a study for, and it's like 3 steps down the line. Maybe you start to do actual work, and it's like in the meantime it's like we spent a bunch of money to find out what we already know, which is that we want transit.
I mean, here's another related bill that I testified on support on the phone. So we can go here, related to transportation. This one got, let's see here, I didn't get any votes yet, but they just had a hearing yesterday, I called in. And then you can see on the votes, there's another bill. It got 41 votes, one of them didn't vote, so.
What about AB 505, which is for, was it you said deregulation of construction? Is that on the agenda still?
Yeah. AB 505, yes, construction. We can go see. I don't think that bill really went anywhere.
If it's not on the agenda, then it's been already. Oh, there it is.
No, they're all are.
Okay.
When a bill is introduced, it will stay permanently on the system.
Has it just not been seconded then?
Yeah. So you can see here.
Okay, it was in hearings. I'm trying to squint.
So yeah, you can see here AB 505. It hasn't gone anywhere. It got 5 opposition, 1 support.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't seem like that's happening. That doesn't matter what we say.
Yeah, so
That's
that bill
just
is
like
not
the first
going
committee
anywhere.
hearing.
But again, it can be introduced next session. It's
That's
perfectly
true.
fine.
In 2 years.
Here's another bill I wanted to just talk about. Let's see here. AB 96. This is regard to master plans. I can't even find it on my
You said master
presentation.
plan communities? AB 96?
Urban heat island effect.
Urban heat island,
Yes.
okay. And so the mitigation would be required for new master plan community construction?
Which urban heat, how they're going to mitigate the urban heat island effect, correct. So does anybody know how to submit an opinion? Would you like us to do one just for the heck of it?
Yeah, let's just do it.
Okay,
And
so
we
let's
can-
go to AB 256.
You gotta sign in though, don't you, first?
Yes,
That's
I
true.
do. Thank you
you
for letting me
mentioned
know.
like IDs. Do you register as a Nevada resident? And then-
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's the
Okay,
first step.
password, yeah. Yeah,
You
you want
gotta-
to do that, you want to show your zip code, 'cause that way you're not a bot or anything, because,
Out of state interest.
My name is John
Also,
Smith.
also
I'm from-
another thing is, if you guys cannot submit opinions, if you don't want to do opinions through here, and you can't call in, you can't physically show up, here's one thing I did do. I did, however, you can also submit a testimony in writing. So what you can do is you can submit a PDF document. So what happens is, you go, let me show you. This is the committee of, Legislative Commission. Okay, so you go here, even though this is not elections related bill, but for some odd reason they do it. It is what it is. Okay, let's see if we can do. So what you can do is you can get their email, and I can show you, and then you create a PDF document, you submit to them, and they will obviously post it on public, your name, saying that we don't support this. So, okay, it is not loading, unfortunately. I think the reception is really bad. You guys have good internet connection? Okay, mine does not, because I think my internet connection is actually pretty far out.
You need to clear your cache. You update that computer. Remake.
Oh God, they have security questions.
Yeah. So you can see here, you get this email right here to the committee, you copy it, and then you paste it, okay? Now let me go back to AJR Assembly Joint Resolution 14. I think it was 14 or not. I don't think this is the right one.
Registration.
Well, I'm glad you guys are starting. That's really, really good.
I already got got a count and all that.
Alright, I'm logged into the legislation.
Well, speaking of that, do you think the one who responded to our certified mail, do you think we should bring her over as a guest one day?
If she says yes, we need an actual event that's gonna make her like more feel like showing up. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it's just like a handful of people. I don't know.
Well, actual town hall
Like if we did like an actual town hall, I'm sure we want to invite her.
at the
Assuming
library
that her district is in the Vegas area.
or a community center.
No, her district is in the east side, I showed you, so we can have a town hall in the East Las Vegas
That's
library.
District 14.
Yes.
Cyrus.
Oh,
Hey,
sorry.
Cyrus.
Yeah, I was talking now. I'm AJR.
Cyrus.
I was looking for what she had on
Where is District 14?
AJR.
District 14, you mean her district? Let me see.
Yeah,
Assembly district, right?
because, yeah, maybe a good venue there.
Is it 14? Her district, I think I showed you earlier, it's on the east side, so it's right by east of Eastern Avenue, heading towards Pecos, Boulder Highway, right near Nellis and Charleston Boulevard. It's a pretty small district if you ask me. They even give you her address, so they'll tell you where she lives.
I may know a business in that area that he can come, support.
Yeah,
No,
I appreciate it. Yeah, you can definitely reach out to them. I know Alex probably knows there's some restaurants there or what's going on.
Figure something out on that
I'm
side of
having
town.
difficulty loading just the district 14.
Clear your guys' cache.
That library
I've never
over
been
there.
I'm sure that's it.
Huh?
The library over there.
I don't think it's in that district actually.
Okay, here we
It's
go.
next door to it. No, Bonanza.
Yeah, I don't think it's on, but I don't think that's covered as a district.
From the actual.
But you can see here, their districts are really tiny. And then the further you go out, the districts get larger.
Well, what about that rec center that we were with Tick Steyer Bloom over there?
Hollywood Boulevard?
No,
Oh, yeah.
Desert Inn, right off of Desert Inn and,
This request. Click this.
remember that rec center? You know what I'm talking about. What's
Oh, I
that-
think so.
What's that street over there? Remember I parked at the Pizza Hut over there?
Oh, Pecos?
Is it Pecos?
Really good.
Yeah, well, we all went to. Yeah, it could be, I don't know.
So we could have a town hall there too.
That would be great, absolutely. So here is, okay, this is AJR 14 is not the bill related to it. No, it's not related. Excuse me. Yeah, so this is releasing federal land. I don't know, are you guys a fan of this bill? If you're not, I totally respect your opinion. So we can see here, this is exhibits. And then Vinny Spothelson, the Sierra Club, and the chapter opposed this bill, so that allows more land on the outskirts to be released. Opposition from Friends of Nevada Wilderness, Great Basin Water Network, and opposition from the Asian American Pacific Islander Democratic Caucus of Nevada.
Huh.
So ironically, even though you can see here that nearly all Democrats voted for this bill, okay, except for 6, okay, you can see here that there were some Democrats that opposed. Because you have to understand that some people have a position that may be further away than others. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like minimum wage. Some people wanted to go up to 15. Some people believe it should go up to 20. You know what I mean? So there's a variation in opinions. And I could go all day. But see, this one says, prioritize infill development of existing spaces, but yet the sponsor, also introduced a bill to do that, and that's what we're for there. Invest in transit-connecting housing near employment hubs, and ensure all housing development is clear with affordability benchmarks and community oversights. So, we support that, but I tell a lot of these people, you can also do that 30, 40 miles away. And if you do, now the transit system has more places to go to and increases in efficiency. What do you guys think? Do you guys support this or not?
No.
Okay, you don't believe we should go outskirts. Okay, that's fine.
There should be enough infill.
Huh?
There should be enough infill. There's enough in this town.
Well, there should be,
We build up.
but our policies are making it not easy enough to do that.
Well,
That should be the
then maybe we
amendment.
weigh in on a bill that would make it easier to do it for development.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Well, but the same sponsor I told you introduced a bill to make it easier for the former Kmart on Spring Mountain to actually put in residential and commercial.
Oh, they can actually build inside of that thing?
Yeah. So they're making it easier to go up and they're making it easier to go out. When you do that, the likelihood that you're gonna get more affordable housing is gonna happen.
Yeah. I like that. Put that in the.
You should mention, last night, we had a conversation about a neighborhood up by Lindell, Flamingo, across the street from where I live. There's all these houses here, and they got the parking in front, it's just ghetto, worn down. And we were talking about, I was talking about demolishing that whole neighborhood and build up.
So,
That makes sense.
you know, Las Vegas area and
That'd be
then.
good.
Friendly city.
Yeah, that's where you live,
Yeah,
across where I used to
it
live.
would clean up the area.
Cool.
That makes sense.
Well, you see, and the problem with that apartment complex is that they have houses in front of the streets, and in between the houses, they have literally poorly paved parking and dumpsters right in front of the house. I mean, it's like they're asking to be turned into a slum. It literally looks like a dump. And then I'm going to show you on the map. I'm going to go right here. We're going to go on Google Maps.
Hot stuff. Oh my God, forget about it.
You want to taste Spencer's soda? It is really.
Oh, wow. California gas could hit $8 a gallon
Oh my.
by 20, and this will affect prices here because they supply our gasoline. And guess what? The good news is it's going to help our cause. Because now we're going to say, oh, you build cities that depend on cars, so now if you would have listened to us, now you could have had a plan B. But you don't. Okay, so HAR 10, you guys, some of you don't support it, some of you do, so we'll not do this bill.
Yeah.
Let's do an example for AB 256.
That was for,
HAR 10, that is a resolution, that's not a bill. It urges Congress to release more federal lands.
okay. AB 256.
That's the transit bill.
That's transit, that's,
We're gonna say we
that's
support.
studies for specific roads, right? It's not just authorizing.
Specific areas are planned that they're gonna put in transit, like rail.
You said BRT.
What
It
is
could be bus rapid transit, it could be at-grade light rail.
They didn't
Okay,
specify.
these are
So-
all options that they're
It is-
So
investigating.
what at-grade light rail does is it says that we have a light rail system at the grade level. We're gonna take one car traffic lane, and once the light rail passes the intersection, all the cars would have to yield for the train to pass the intersection. Okay? Now, critics will say that will increase road traffic congestion, but people will say that a train moves people a lot more than cars do, right? So, and if we're gonna do infill, we're gonna move lots of people around, we're gonna have to do something like that. Now, could we do something elevated if it's cheaper? Probably, and I showed you in previous meetings of what they're like.
What was the last one? AJR?
AJR 10.
10.
That's Sandra Wardige's bill. And you know, here's the funny thing, because Sandra Wardige is a Democrat, and the thing is that she was also the one that introduced the film tax credit bill. So the thing is that if you, the thing is she's a Democrat, but she wanted a Trump district. So if you really
What
want
is
to
that?
defeat her, you can go into Democrat doors and say, okay, she allowed bills that is going to harm the environment and is putting more money into large media giants instead of schools. And then you can say, okay, well, she introduced gun safety bills on the other side. So that could really defeat her. So I'm just giving you a strategy how you can defeat these people going forward. That's how you get these people defeated in these elections. You criticize her that may alienate people on all sides. You know what I mean? So it's just food for thought. But anyway, just going back to this, I'm going to show you how this neighborhood looks like that Alex is talking about. It's pretty ugly. It's called Casa del Oro Apartments. Alex, you live here.
Oh, is that, yeah, the neighborhood we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, point out.
There's literally a power line, above ground power line next to it.
The mechanic Cholo lives, one of those streets there.
Yeah, so this was.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. We're going to submit opinions and see what we're going to say.
Yeah, how do you, I can't find the opinion thing on it.
Yeah, it's on the phone. It's, you got to go to the plus. Go to the plus part.
Plus part?
Let me show you.
I'll just, it's the about
Yeah, where it says plus, right here.
Oh.
Yeah, they're not going to be obviously. Okay, go ahead.
Oh.
And you can say Strong Towns Las Vegas supports the bill.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Support
Okay.
Strong Towns. Supports.
Vice Chair.
I actually do like AB 6. They're not just like authorizing general funding. Yeah, they're creating a new working group for us for studies of rail, specifically rail, and then they're supposed to submit an actual plan for the development of regional rail transit. Okay. I mean, in principle, I support this. I'd have to read deeper to find any.
No, one thing I have to say is that there's a Strong Towns Reno, and all they had is like 1 or 2 meetups, and they haven't done anything since, like last year or so. So I've tried to message them, I haven't gotten a response. I'm hoping to meet up with them, but we're not the only Strong Towns groups in the state.
So I see an opposing opinion on here, saying urban sprawl is an environmental justice issue.
It is.
I think it's fun.
Now, it depends how, like you said, how you develop the land over there.
Look, this guy leaves his phone number here. Support.
Yeah, why don't we call him right now? That'd be fun.
I want to call.
Well, why not? I mean, his number's up there. Like, this is Strong Town.
Why don't you, you know,
I saw your number on the same
come
website.
out to our fucking meetup, you know?
Send that to a race.
No, I saw.
Yeah, one by one, we're going to do it ourselves. I love
I
it.
saw a YouTuber. He was pranking people on live stream.
Read this comment. Are you effing stupid? Take this stuff back to California.
I'm sorry, AB 256?
Yeah, opposition.
Okay.
Short and simple.
There was a California invented rail.
Exactly.
That sounds like something Matthew would post.
What?
That sounds like something Matthew would post.
You know, you're not the only one who has heard Matthew. Yeah. Some of you have
Calling
heard
it
Matthew
the
on the
best.
phone. And I think all of, yeah. Yeah.
He called it last session, it was so funny.
He was here?
No, he called through the phone from California. Disguised as
Yeah, well, he's pissed. He's pissed because his city, Beverly Hills, is going to open a subway station in a few years.
Uh-oh. That's gonna draw all kinds of.
So yeah, so Beverly Hills is going to have a subway station, and one of the things is that we're going to see. He's gonna get pissed off. Now, he may argue that it's gonna bring homeless people into Beverly Hills, but I don't know. I mean, they can come through the bus, they can walk there from other cities. I mean, it's not gonna be all that bad. But I think it's very important to have subways because I don't wanna drive there and pay like